Hi folks, I'm Bob Schrupp, physical therapist.
Brad Heineck, physical therapist.
Together we are the most famous physical therapists on the internet.
In our opinion, of course, Bob.
Today, Brad, you want to show some amazing, how you can make some amazing progress, somebody who's had a stroke in their walking, how you can progress that along.
Right, if the person's had a stroke, in this situation, it's going to be the left side of the brain, the right side is going to be affected. You can see Bob and I both have tape on our right leg. That's a reminder for you, and as well as for us, that that's our involved side. In this situation, the person is going to be lucky enough to have fairly good use of the arm, although it's not real critical, but it is with the walker. But the biggest thing we're going to focus on is balance, walking, and how can that person advance that involved leg so it swings through and they can put weight on it and balance and walk functionally without falling.
So Brad's got some neat little hints and techniques that you can use both as a therapist or if you're a family member working with somebody.
Right.
These are things you can try on your own.
We do get quite a few comments of people that they don't have therapy
They don't
available
have access to them, right.
And they're looking for things they can do with their friends or family members at home. And believe me, there's going to be a number of things here that I think will help.
By the way, I do see a couple people that are just coming in to make a comment. If you are new to our channel, please take a second to subscribe to us. We provide videos on how to stay healthy, fit, pain-free, and we upload every day. And please like us on Facebook. Brad and I have this thing that we want to be liked.
Yep.
So, all right,
Carry
let's get
on.
going.
Okay, so once someone's had a stroke there at home or in the clinic, one of the first things I do is, get them up on their feet and see if that leg, here we got the tape here, is that leg going to accept weight or is it going to buckle? Obviously, if it's going to buckle, we're going to work on strengthening exercises. In this situation, the person can bear weight and fairly stable on it. So if they, have a walker, I think we can see that leg in there. And I'll have the person stand, check without handhold, make sure they're safe, hands back on, and then I'll go weight shift. So can they put all the weight to the right leg without having this happen, okay? So, and if that looks good, well, then we'll progress to the next step. We can go to some marching, and can the person go up like this and like this? And not only looking to see if the knee flexes, but does the knee hyperextend like that? Because that's a real common quadricep weakness that happens with a stroke leg. Okay, so we're going to look at that and assess that. If they have good enough stability with the marching, then we're going to go right into walking. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some gait problems that are pretty common.
Some
with
walking
stroke.
problems that are common.
So here we got the tape. That's the weak leg. A lot of times the toe will drag. We have foot drops, so the toe is unable to lift up and dorsiflex, so you have clearance, and that toe drags, which is obviously a big problem because it can cause you to fall down. Okay,
so it can be weakness in the hip or in the foot itself.
Exactly.
Anywhere along the chain there might be causing you difficulty.
It's a good point, and that's what therapists are thinking. And if you're not a therapist, you might see the foot drop, and you might just think, oh, the problem is down there.
In the ankle.
In fact, it may be up here. Part of it is up
Right.
here. Another thing with foot drop is you might hear this.
Foot slap.
Foot slap,
Yeah.
It's the same problem. I've got a patient that I've been working with recently, and he has this. His toe goes out to the side, and he's dragging it.
That's very common too.
Right, exactly. So we're going to show you a couple of really neat tricks on how to do that in just a little bit. Okay? If things are going okay with the walker, and you can go 100 feet, couple hundred feet on the flat, and think, well, maybe we should progress to the cane.
Sure.
So Bob, why don't you show some examples with a cane?
So I'm going to move the cane forward, then my foot. I might have trouble moving that foot forward.
Right, so, and this is very typical. You're going to use the cane on the opposite side. This leg's good. He's got pretty good balance between the cane and here, but that stroke leg is really having a hard time coming forward. Okay, this is a technique that I've used over the years, and it works really well. We'll
face this way, yeah.
Straight towards. So what you're going to do, Bob has a gait belt on, so I'm going to use that to grab. Always have a gait belt that there's a risk for fall. And I'm going to come around, I call it the hip hugger technique. Around here, and my hip is going to Bob's hip, and I got pretty good control. I'm not being shy here. I need to know where his hip is, and I need to help guide it. So Bob's having a hard time bringing that right foot forward, and I'm not going to drag it forward by reaching down and grabbing it. I'm going to throw his right hip forward, and there it goes.
Yeah, and I didn't do anything there. He lifted it for me.
Yep.
So he's really pulling on my pelvis here.
Right.
That's what you're doing.
Right.
And you're pulling it up and around like that. And you know, after time, you can maybe help a little bit less, and you're hoping I do more and more with time.
One thing I'll do is I'll give a lot of verbal cues. Okay, Bob, bring that right foot forward, bring it forward, just like that. Bring it forward. There you go. Up too far. Bring it back where it belongs. Back. There you go. Okay, take the next step. Bring the cane forward. Now bring that right foot forward. I'm going to help you. And there we go. And actually, these muscles over here in the hip, I'll kind of bump a little bit. It kind of wake them up. Anything to get his brain to communicate with that right side.
Yeah, get more visual or feedback.
Right, whether it's verbal, and you can use visual, and the way you do that is you put a mirror, a full-length mirror in front of the person, and then you do that together. And once the person can see that leg, sometimes
they can make the connection.
Right. There's a lot of little tricks that therapists use with strokes, and these are just
you want to give them as many senses you're going to bring in as possible.
Right.
So you know, you got auditory and visual, and then you can also feel.
Right, the tactile. So you got three things going all at once. It's taxing for the person with a stroke because they're working very hard and the mind isn't ready for it yet, but you have to push it.
Yep, you have to start hoping some of the other parts of the brain are going to help out.
Okay, now let's go to the technique if the person has foot drop and that toe's dragging and you're trying to get that toe up so that it'll swing through. And this is where if you're at home and you're going to need some TheraBand or some stretch band, I'm going to actually recommend the brand name TheraBand because if you go online and if you look, they sell it in 5-yard or 6-yard lengths. Otherwise, you got to buy a big roll like they do at the therapy department.
Yeah, and those are expensive.
For $150, $200, and you don't need that much. And then they sell other ones that are only 5 feet long. Well, that's not long enough. You need something that's going to be about 2 to 3 yards long, and it will break. Mine broke here. And I don't really know why. If you get on a sharp edge, it broke. This one just broke. I tied a knot in it.
Because this is a pretty thick stuff, isn't it?
Well, you're going to want to get, not the yellow, that's the lightest. You're going to probably want the orange or the red. That's the colors I'd recommend through the TheraBand.
Okay.
Okay. So
you have a length, how long, Brad?
Well, if you double it up, it should come up shoulder at least. Because of the knot, this got shorter. I liked up the chin. Okay. If you double it, it should go to the chin. I'm going to make this work. It's a little forgiving because it's just stretchy. Step on it at the mid-length. You're going to cross it, double cross it, make the cross down by the toe. Then you're going to go behind the knee. There you go. See how the X going across the knee? Then I'm going to go to the front, make a cross across the front, and then we're going to go around, and you can tie it back here, or if you have long enough loops, tails, you can come
might be able to tie it in the front.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tie a knot in there because I'm going to hold it. Now, I showed my wife this, and she said that's dangerous because this is going to cut circulation off to their leg, and that's a good point. But you're only going to leave this on while you're working with the person for 20 minutes.
This is not on all day.
Right. You don't put this on and then leave the person walk around with it all day because it is a circulation problem at that point.
I think it would take a while before it starts cutting off circulation.
Right. We're being pretty conservative, but sometimes you need to be that way. So what's happening here is the TheraBand is literally pulling my toe up, and behind here it's keeping my knee. Remember the hyperextension we talked about? It helps prevent that, and it gives support around the hip.
And it's giving maybe a little bit of hip flexion or not?
A little bit, yeah, because it's pulling right here.
Right.
It really works with the chain.
It really stabilizes things without, and yet you can move, but yet it helps.
Right.
I mean, unlike a knee immobilizer, which just locks you in place and you're not able to move at all.
This flows with the body, so to speak. So normally I was walking like this, and then if you put something like this on a real patient, all of a sudden you get it, it starts to go through, and you don't need all that help that I was giving Bob before, okay? Now,
and once that happens, the person can make the connection and they can start using their own hopefully make the neural connections and start using their own body to do it.
Right, with repetition, the
right.
mind starts to take over and it remembers, oh yeah, and it makes a new synapses, if you will. There's a, I don't want to get into all the details of that, it's pretty complicated. The other thing is if the person is walking and they drag their foot, external rotation.
Yeah, they're turning their foot outward, which is very common after a stroke because there's a lot of times that hip adductor comes
Right.
back first
Yep.
before the hip flexor.
Should we do this one on you, Bob?
Sure.
Okay, you can use the same length TheraBand. Put that around the toe. And this is easier to do it on someone else. And I'm going to put 2 wraps down around the toe to keep it semi-tight around the toe.
So you crossed over twice.
Yep. You can do it once. I'm doing it twice. You work with it a little bit and you'll know the little tricks. That's if you're a little bit, just do a little experience. Now, the toe goes out this way. We're going to go the opposite direction.
So we're going in between the legs first.
Yep. And
So-
then we come around the
So basically you're going to make a spiral, right, Brad?
Yep, the opposite direction
Yep.
of the problem. I like this, go right behind the knee,
Okay.
okay? I'm gonna bring it there. I take that, I didn't mean behind the knee, it's actually in the
Behind the calf.
Yeah.
Yeah, not behind the knee, behind the
Now,
calf.
Bob's really tall, so normally with him,
Yeah, you ran out of room, huh?
yeah, we'd have to have another 3 or 4 feet to go around his waist.
So another one would go underneath here?
Nope, at
Oh, this
point,
one would go around the waist then.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
And what I like to do is, at this point, I'm going to wrap it around here. So,
Oh, like this?
right, and then I'm going to go like that. We may have to hold it here. And you can work with this, or you can just go right to here and go through a belt loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Now-
would take it around and then tie it right here.
Yep. Go ahead and walk towards the camera then. And do you feel how that's
Yeah,
pulling your toe in?
it's really hard to turn my foot out right now.
Right.
This works out really good because this is a real problem with a lot of people. And it gives me a little bit of lift on the foot too, Brad.
Sure. Go ahead. Walk
So-
forward, Bob.
So yeah, it's definitely, it almost feels like I'm a robot on this side that, it's assisting my leg.
Right.
It's really weird.
It is. And you can do this for, and hopefully the idea is you're only going to do this for a couple weeks, and after that the muscles regenerate their
Right.
connections and strengthen, and you don't need it anymore.
I really like this idea, Brad. It's really a good progression.
It is. It's a neat little trick that works really well, and it doesn't cost $2,000 like if you get a custom brace made that sometimes they work and sometimes they
Right,
don't.
and the external rotation, so.
Now, let's say we go through this for 2 or 3 weeks, the leg is not strengthening, the toe is not coming up. At that point, you may need to go with an orthotic or,
Yeah, we
got a couple AFOs.
yeah,
Here, I just
this
threw
is a custom one that actually actually has hinges in it, and this is a molded AFO that,
Right.
these are really quite pricey. That one's off the shelf.
So these go in here, they go inside the shoe, both of them, though normally you have to buy a bigger size shoe to make them work. We're not going to get into that, we've got an extra
Yeah.
video just on that. Assuming things are going well, what we want to finish up with, Bob, is steps. So the right leg is the weak leg. You don't want to go up first with the right leg, up with the strong leg, and here. Up with the strong, and here. And I ran out of steps here. But,
Yeah.
And then going back down,
Down with the weak leg.
yep, Kane has to lead, grab onto that handrail, down with the weak leg. Down with the weak leg.
So we always say when you're going up to heaven, you want to lead with the good leg,
Yep.
and when you're going down to HE double toothpicks, you want to lead with the bad leg.
Exactly,
So-
Bob. So once again, Bob, we're going through the whole thing on fixing different parts of the body except for,
We can fix just about anything except for a broken heart.
yeah, but we're working on that
Yeah.
too. I think if some of this duct tape around the leg would be good. It's
Yeah.
got the right color today.
Put it up there.
Yeah, wrap it
All
around
right.
that baby.
Thanks.